Hello, people. I'm still in Facebook jail. But the good thing about being in Facebook jail is that it makes you go to other places and seek other forms of distraction and other forms of communicating with people. So I guess it's not so bad. We should spread out a little when we have a message to propagate and meet different people in different social media platforms, and there's all social media platforms have their own culture, and people will interact differently in different places. So I do make a point of spreading myself out, and I try to meet different people and do not disdain to interact with them. So, what in the way of progress have I to report to you? Well, I've been complaining lately, in my usual way, that there seems to be no point at all in my winning all the arguments if people don't care. They don't care about the arguments, and this is really my problem. Now, is this fatal to your civilization? Yes, it is. It is fatal to your civilization. If you're going to say, well, you can't make us because we don't wanna, because we don't like it, and well, that's the end of you then. Okay, so lately I've been focusing on one person who I think it's kind of the key to it all, who can, start the ball rolling, and just by doing this one thing for me, and well, I am being met with a wall of resistance and faced with all kinds of accusations of and insults, but it's like, okay, you can insult me and say all these things about me. I don't care, I submit to it, if you want to accuse me of all these things. It's like, well, at least make your accusations out properly. If I'm supposed to have done something, say it, not you know what you've done. It's maddening. Why can't they just say, on such and such a day, you did this and that, and all right, I've got. I might have to cut short this stream. But okay, I should really tell you what I've been doing, in case you think I've been, sort of resting on my laurels, so to speak, and lolling around waiting for the Messiah to come, or whatever you think I'm doing if I'm not yakking to you and monologuing on my streams. So I believe in going through the proper channels. So, and this means going to the right people, and this means talking to Jews and winning all my arguments against them. Yes, I do. I win all my arguments against them, but they, like you lot, are just as immovable to reason, saying, well, who are you? We can just ignore you and pretend you don't exist. And talking about the people who pretend I don't exist. You know who you are. You know who you are, and you are afraid to talk to me. Stefan Molyneux, Millennial Woes, Thomas Barton Rees, Adam Green. Indeed, Adam Green. So yesterday there was this really boring stream, and his guest was Joseph Atwill, and Joseph Atwill was on my channel on Koranism, and I think I did the interview a whole lot better. But anyway, because Adam Green has a take on Jews, and Joseph Atwill has a theory about the New Testament, he was invited on. In fact, the first time I heard about Atwill was from a Jew, and Atwill's spiel is basically that the New Testament was a work of the Roman propaganda department to punish Jews. And Adam Green, as you know, is an infamous anti-Semite and Talmudist, because he will use the Talmud as evidence of Jews conspiring against Gentiles. So that is Adam Green's line. And I've been trying to attract his attention for ages because I want to talk to him. But Adam Green won't talk to me. I think it's because he's afraid that I'm going to win the argument. So what they do, what people like Dutton and Green do is to pretend that I don't exist, and then give themselves away and say, we don't like your croaky voice or whatever. So it's like, yeah, you do know who I am. You are avoiding me, and I know why. All right? I know why you do it. Because you don't want to give up your position, because you already know that your position is indefensible, and you know I will just blow it up. So I see that Adam Green is now anti-Christian. I've just been having a look at Stormfront. So he's anti-Christian, and the Christian white nationalists are muttering and mumbling about him being possibly Jewish. You know, the name Green, possibly Jewish. And they don't like him because he undermines Christianity. Now, this could be a good sign for me. I mean, you know, if he rejects Christianity, well, Green could become a secular Koranist, right? He could. Or he could be some kind of LARPing neo-pagan, which means that he will be useless to me. And he certainly won't be defending his neo-paganry on my channel or his. I suspect he's just working out his new religion. And I'm saying, you neo-pagans, don't even bother. Who's going to follow your religion that you invented, that you don't believe in, that you already know is pre-Christian, which means, well, lacking in civilization, going back to the time before the Romans invaded you, before you became Christian, which means that, you know, that was a pretty poor, primitive state of civilization, and this is what you want to go back to? Are you crazy? But you're not going to argue with me about that because, well, paganism is morally and intellectually indefensible. But the long-term strategy of these nationalists, I suppose, these anti-Semites, these Islamophobes, is to ignore me and not engage with me ever. And they will do it by methods of completely ignoring me, not letting me on their platform, and saying things about me that I'm possibly Jewish, possibly Muslim, and completely ignore what I actually say about my position of principled agnosticism. I've thought through my positioning on the whole thing. That is why I command the position of being in a position of being the intersection between Jews and anti-Semites, Muslims and Islamophobes. I know lots of people, and I am on speaking terms with them. So I am way ahead of these LARPing losers of nationalism who can't defend their position but expect to win the argument. And think it's all right to ignore truth, logic, and morality because I don't have an army and I can't make them do what I want them to do. I would have thought that truth, logic, and morality would impel you towards the only logical conclusion it is possible to come to if you are indeed employing truth, logic, and morality. And so the long-term strategy of these so-called nationalists is to keep waiting until I get old and sick and die, and the world will be a better place because then they'll be able to, talk about their neo-paganism without being challenged. They have no strategy. Their only long-term strategy is that of, moaning and complaining and blaming everyone else but themselves. It is obvious that they are neurotic. In fact, I must congratulate myself for staying sane when virtually everyone I speak to is neurotic, both Jews and Gentiles. And how do I define neurosis? Neurosis when you, contradict yourself the whole time. So on the one hand, here's a good example. You agree with me, but you won't publicly support me because what? Because you don't think I'll succeed, right? And therefore, there's no point supporting me because the benefits of supporting me may not come in either my lifetime or your lifetime. So you're just not going to bother. You're not going to bother alienating your fellow anti-Semites and Islamophobes because you don't think I'm going to succeed. That is basically your motivation in withholding your cooperation and support, and you know who you are. But what about your children and your grandchildren? It seems you're going to leave your society in the form of an overflowing toilet. Whatever's wrong about it, you're not going to say anything. You're not going to admit the problem because, your family are Christian. They'll be offended by any mention of secular Koranism, or your political associates are all anti-Semites and they're not going to want you to ally yourself with me because I'm known to be, running with rabbis? Something like that. And so you're just not going to bother. You're going to forget about it and retire. Really, can you just retire from politics? I guess you can retire from being an MP or something, But can you retire from politics if you have any political convictions at all? I suppose you could retire if, what you ask for, you finally get. When you get to white nationalist heaven, where Well, you're very far away from that, aren't you? And so the form of neurosis, becomes, there are all these things, this list of things you want, these enemies you have, and then, and then when I say, well, this is what you do to solve your problem, and it's suddenly, oh no, oh no, 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 it's okay. I'd rather keep voting myself to the nationalist heaven that I crave for. I'll just keep voting. Thank you very much. Liberalism is fine. Actually, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And then you leave them alone for a bit, and then they'll start whinging about lockdown and vaccines and Jews and Muslims and immigration. And I come to them with the same problem. And you know what? I've been doing this for over a decade now, and they haven't found a better solution that they can say in public without losing their social media account. They still, after all this time, they haven't thought of a better solution. But they don't want me to win the argument, do they? They're never going to concede. And they think by collectively agreeing never to mention me, never to allow me on their platforms, they're going to win. They're going to get to their ethno state. Really? The thing is, if Richard Spencer were to be asked by the US government where he would like to locate his ethno state, and he chose one. He chose one of the 50 states of America, and the American government says, "Yeah, we'll give it to you. That's a deal. You go and tell your supporters, and they'll get into their wagons and come to your white ethno state, and we'll give it to you. We really will give you that state that you choose." Where do you think they'll go with their wagons? They'll go to Hawaii, huh? I bet they'll go to Hawaii. They won't be going to Maine. They won't be going to Idaho or one of the other flyover states. They won't be doing anything. They're not having any form of debate. I know I was briefly on the Crucible, but I don't think they're going to call me back again. I think I did very well, didn't I? I made all my points. Of course, Andrew Wilson denied my points and said, no, it ain't so, it ain't true. What you said, you can't prove it. And he's going to leave it at that. I don't think I'll be invited back again. I just have a feeling, I can read minds. I know that the Trinity is intellectually and morally indefensible, and if you did more research, you would know that this is the case, but you're not going to admit it to yourselves or to me. And you think, let's play the waiting game. We all keep up our strategy of boycotting her and accusing her and demonizing her. Well, eventually she'll just die, and then we'll forget about it. We can forget about the fact that no one can think of a better idea than secular Koranism. No one, not even the most rabid Islamophobe, can think of a better guide to humanity. But they still want to win the argument. So this is a problem. It's your cowardice. I know people who actually say, yeah, I agree with you, but it wouldn't do for me to say what you say. I have my family to think of. I have my job. I have my reputation. And I have all these alt-right political associates and allies of mine who would, well, be mean to me if I were seen to be agreeing with you and supporting you in public using my real name. So I ain't gonna do it. Not even if I have legitimate offspring. Not even if my legitimate offspring is going to give me a grandchild. Not even if I have descendants. I have no care about the future of my society because I'm too afraid to alienate all these useless fuckers. These anti-Semites, these Islamophobes, who have no argument and no ability to mount one, not even after a whole decade. I am better than all of them put together, but you still won't support me because you don't think I'm going to win. Because, well, I'm not going to win if you won't support me. This is a catch-22 situation. So I'm looking for support from Jews. I'm going to the proper channels. So if God exists, this will have to be done through Jews. Jews have to make tshuva, have to acknowledge that they done wrong, doing what they did, never doing what they were supposed to be doing for Gentiles, going native, assimilating, becoming liberals, voting Democrat, not observing the Sabbath until half the Jews in existence are, well, non-observant. And according to the Torah, non-observant Jews who break the Sabbath are, well, they're not supposed to even escape the death penalty as the Torah decrees. So that would be the Jewish route. And as for Gentiles, I've given up with the men. Obviously, I've given up with the men. I mean, the men don't even care what other men want. They only care about their next sexual encounter with a woman, not their wife. So my great white hope would be female. A woman who can see the point of what I'm saying. I don't think I'm being obscure, am I, when I say that we live in a matriarchy? If the problem is matriarchy, the solution has to be patriarchy. If the destination is patriarchy, the vehicle has to be theocracy, governed by the principles of secular Koranism. That's not hard to understand. I know. I don't expect white, middle-class, college-educated women to like my idea. But thank you, Tiffany, for being able to engage. I'm very grateful to her. At least she admits that she can't think of anything better. Hello? Right, I got rid of that call. But that's all I require, I don't expect white, middle-class, college-educated women to submit to the power and glory of secular Koranism immediately. Of course I don't. There has to be a dialogue. And of course you're welcome to ask me all kinds of awkward questions. But I can't even get that level of engagement. It's this assumption that, I know all the big YouTubers, they're not going to platform you, and I'm not going to ask them to platform you. No, of course not. And I know no one who's going to be able to get them to platform you. But yeah, I agree with you. Deep down, I agree with you. But I'm not going to stick my neck out. So, well, you should expect doom. after further decline, further degeneracy. Who cares about your offspring, your grandchildren, or whether they'll have descendants, or whether they'll be wondering what the hell their ancestors did to leave them with an overflowing toilet or globo homo moral sewage. But you don't care about posterity. It's too abstract a concept for you. You only care about the here and now, as you accuse me of all kinds of things. But here is my plan, my strategy, my itinerary, my roadmap. And it is this. There's no point talking to the men. Why do I talk to the men who don't know what they want, who are lower in status than the unmarried mothers? It would be better to talk to a white, middle-class, college-educated woman. That would be the highest status person I can approach. Amongst Gentiles, the men are quite irrelevant and redundant. So I am seeking my first female secular Koranist. That's my long-term strategy. And once I get that, the one who's prepared to show a face, give a real name, be already known in national circles, then the ball can start rolling. But if you're going to be forever shrinking from engagement, if you're going to be forever silenced because you can't do this little thing that I ask you to do, and it is a little thing, such a little thing that you have already done, but not done well enough. Well, I can help you there. There's no point talking to incels who are going to die without issue. I don't care. I am just going to focus on Jews and white, middle-class, college-educated women, preferably mothers of legitimate offspring, who are expected to have grandchildren or who are expecting grandchildren. Those people, because it's only when you are in that position that you will be morally obliged to care what happens to your society, your nation, your civilization, expected to say something about it. So really, at the end of the day, Adam Green is unimportant. What's he going to do? Is he a married father? I don't think so. That's why he can LARP as some kind of neo-pagan anti-Semite. You know, he's one of those who blame Christianity on Jews and also Islam on Jews, you know, like Jen Schaaf. And then that would be his excuse to embrace neo-paganism. And then, well, you'll have such a good time fighting each other about which pagan deity to worship. I wouldn't want to be here when you do that. I don't think any of you would want to be here when you have another European war of religion, but this time about which pathetic pagan deity that you want to worship. And that will be happening in America too. There'll be an American war of religion, and then there'll be an Australasian war of religion. That's going to be such fun. And you know you're not going to become Buddhists or Hindus. What else are you going to become? But the only rational and moral choice. Ron Fan. Ron Fawn or Ron Fan? Yeah, I know. I think I know who it is. It would be Rob Dufour of Islam for Europeans, the soft-spoken Canadian from Quebec, and he's not going to promote Islam in a robust or masculine way. He's been on my channel. He's just not going to do it properly. That's why Ed Dutton is having him on rather than me, right? But yeah, go and watch Ed Dutton and ask Dutton why he's too afraid to have me on his show. Because he can't formulate the counter arguments to my arguments. And the least you guys, the least you people can do is post in his chat, even if he hides you, for asking him why the hell he's too scared to have me on this show. You gonna do that? Can you manage that? Or are you too degenerate to do that? Ed Dutton, I've been told, only has friendly people on. It's like all of them. They're like girls. They have their cozy little circles, and they drink tea with each other and go nudge nudge, wink wink. We know what we need, don't we? Because we're white. And Claire, she's not, and we can exclude her forever, even though she has won all the arguments. That's what they all do. They've been doing it for years, and this, they think, is a viable strategy. And again, I say to you, if you've given up on being guided by truth, logic, and morality, well, you might as well all cut your throats now, because your civilization is not going to survive. And you might as well do it now rather than later, because it's just going to get worse as the moral sewage of the matriarchy rises above your nose. It's getting pretty unbearable now, isn't it? The stench, the toxicity of it. But yeah, just keep thinking that you have all the time in the world. So Howard, what are you saying? Get up to speed in these gender issues and just jump right in there. Oh, tell me which channel you want me to go on. Yes, Ed Dutton fears me. Yes, he does. You keep reminding him that he fears me. Remind Millennial Woes. Remind Stefan Molyneux. I don't need to talk to Thomas Barton Rees anymore, as I've been on his channel. But yeah, Stefan Molyneux is afraid of me. I've been on this channel twice too. I've even won the argument because I got him to agree with me that theocracy would give us fewer laws and lower taxes. He even said that without my prompting him. What do you mean if I present a position? How many positions do you want from me, Howard? How many? All right, I think I've said what I wanted to say about Adam Green and all these people who are withholding from me their support, even when they privately agree with me. Howard, I don't know who you mean by they. Please just, give me a name, give me a channel. Ron Fan. Yeah, it's on Voice of Reason. Just Google Claire Core, Voice of Reason, Stefan Molyneux, Theocracy. Because I appeared in quick succession. It's like sort of, twice in 2 weeks or something, or twice in a month. That was a few years ago. Okay, let me see if I can find it for you. I don't know what the search engine has done, but it's just making things, the things that I used to be able to find easily harder to find because I guess they're just sort of messing with my. So I have to go inside my blog to find it. Yeah, 2017. Stefan Molyneux agrees with Claire Core. Yeah, just troll them a bit, you know. You'll have fun doing that, right? Shaming your useless so-called intellectual leaders who are just as corrupt as the liberal establishment because you are corrupt if you deny and ignore the truth. That's all it takes. You don't actually have to take bribes. It's not quite the one I want. Let me just see. No, here's the other one. I think that has all the links. And this was in 2017. And the thing is, Molyneux is sort of halfway there with his universally universally preferable behavior because that's basically well, I mean, that's an attempt at the no-hide laws, even though he never actually specified them. And so, it would be great great for me to talk to him about that. You know, it's like, it's so disgusting, really. You know, if you've lost the argument, you have to concede, or you will end up, well, on continuing on your road to perdition. And obviously, this is all the consequences of bad parenting. You know, if you never teach your kid to reason, to use reason and respond to, you know, and acknowledge that they are wrong when they are wrong, and to use logic, and to have certain rules of behavior, you know, then you are breeding a monster. And I'm talking to these nihilistic, atheistic, narcissistic monsters the whole time. They contradict themselves. And then they think, well, but I still don't like her idea. No, you're not expected to like it. Why would any patient relish some invasive surgical procedure? And that's what I'm recommending. I'm not lying to you that you're going to like it. I'm not saying like Nigel Farage that there won't be a few problems, that you will never be inconvenienced and it's all going to be plain sailing. I don't say that, do I? Maybe you want me to lie to you? Well, I'm not going to lie to you. But if you're saying that you want me to tell you sweet little lies, then, well, you've got plenty of people prepared to tell you sweet little lies. I'm not going to compromise on that. Because even if I fail, it will be on record what I stand for and the solution that I propose. And it ain't sweet little lies. Thank you for listening.